Salut guys, Jibrumas to Maya, back with another public service announcement. Gents, you guys are feeling good. What's up, Cape Town? Welcome back to it. This is another episode of the PSA podcast. Myself, Mr. Maya, we're back in studio, and of course today I've got another lovely guest that's joining me today. Aisha Baker, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. I'm trying to get comfortable.
No problem. So listen here, first things first, you know what, this is something that I wanted to say before you even got here. And this is a discussion I've obviously been having with like a lot of people. Before blogging was even a thing, before anyone on doing social media today were about this brand life, connecting with brands and doing things, I believe you were, for me personally, as I know, one of the first people to be doing this thing.
I think the first of five.
Yes, the first of
there
five.
were five of us.
Okay, who's the five?
I'm saying five, but I don't know if there was five.
Okay.
I just make up a number. It was me, Akila Aaron.
Yes.
Talia Goldberg. Raya Rossi, you may not remember these people. Yeah. And then there was Amy Skippers. We kind of pioneered the industry.
Yes.
And then there was also like Titi and Teta and Joburg and a couple of people around. Like, there was a small group of us.
That started,
Yeah, we, like, it's crazy. Like, we invented this industry. Like,
no, I know.
Myself,
that's what I'm saying.
A lot of it because I studied business and my lecturer helped me a lot with, like, creating this into an industry that's like you can monetize, make money, have a career, have a job.
But I mean, if you go all the way back then, I mean, when you kind of start, I mean, obviously it was like new turf to kind of just be venturing into, get into that for the first time, and now obviously creating. What was that like? Because remember, there was no blueprint for this thing.
Oh my God, it was mad. It's so funny because like you become successful and you always want this moment.
Yeah.
And then you look back and you're like, the fun was actually building. Like building it was the fun part.
Was the fun part, yeah.
Yeah, so like I started, I'm 33 now.
Yeah.
And I saw a little shade there saying you look old, you don't look old.
Is it? Okay, thank you so much.
Rushta.
As you heard.
Rushta's the shade queen. I know this my whole life. I'm like, no man, you don't look 40. You do. You look your age. I'm 33, so I started at 19, 18.
19, okay.
Yeah, and I was just like, what happened with me was I'd left high school. So I grew up here in Woodstock.
Which high school, by the way?
I was at St. Cyprian's, a private girls' high school.
Okay, lovely.
But I went to Mountain Road Primary. So
Same.
Did you?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Mountain Road.
Who was your teacher?
What was my teacher? Mr. Daddies?
Oh my gosh!
Mr. Daddies?
Miss Manuel was my teacher.
But I was only there for about 2 years. 2 to 3 years.
Okay, so I went to Mountain Road Primary. I was actually deputy head girl there.
Okay.
Shout out to Mountain Road. And then I went to a private girls' school afterwards. And like I'd never interacted with a white person outside of like someone in the shop and like whatever. I didn't know white kids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I went to this all white private girls' school and I felt very uncomfortable and I got super shy.
Like? I mean, what was that like though?
I remember my first day and this girl, Lisa Pringle, who I love and is my friend now.
Yeah.
On the first day, she was like, why do you roll your R's? And I was like, because I'm like, rice and, you know, I'm like, we eat rice by the house.
Yeah.
And then my best friend that I made very quickly, the only other colored girl in the school, she was like, I need to teach you how to talk because you're not
she was already about this life.
She was from Blackheath and she was like, let me show you how to say. She's like, we don't say pizza, we say pizza.
Pizza.
We don't say rice, we say rice.
Rice.
And your name's not Aisha, it's Aisha. And I was like, okay. So I learned how to like finesse that community, and then it gave me so much exposure to different cultures and like I had Jewish friends and white friends and Christian friends and hippie friends, and it was
that's
nice.
Actually the follow-up question I would have. Like, I mean, you said if you are in this kind of situation, do you feel like you have more opportunity? Because lots of people kind of go to, they say, some quote-unquote private schools and some don't. Do you feel there are more opportunities making friends inside private schools than there would be at public schools?
I don't know if I can say that like as a blanket statement, but I think making friends in a private school setting is difficult, especially like my parents grew up very poor and they worked super hard for everything they have. Like my dad grew up in Ocean View. My mom like jokes that she had one pair of socks when she got married. So
so you guys get those stories too?
Yeah, you know, there's a favorite story. Like we had one pair of shoes and the ShopRite packets in the rain and whatever. So they always reminded us how hard they worked for us to have the opportunity to go to these spaces. So we put a lot of effort in, you know, to make friends and stuff like that. But it was challenging being like the only brown person, and I think making friends in a private school setting coming from the background I came from was difficult and challenging for me. because I felt like I had to change my accent. And like,
so no, that's also that. I mean, do you feel like you had to somewhat act a little bit?
Yes, I had to change. I had
Okay.
to change my accent completely. That was very challenging. And then I felt ugly my whole of high school because we only hung out with like other private school children.
Yeah.
And I was like, I hate my skin color. I would like wear long sleeves to the beach because I didn't want to get darker. And like I hated that my hair was black.
Imagine the struggle, eh?
Yeah, I wanted my hair to be blonde. I mean, it's blonde now. But that time, like, my dad's like, you're not highlighting it.
Is that because like everyone at the school was like
everyone
this
was
kind
blonde
of
and
light skin?
yeah,
okay.
and like they wore bikinis to the beach, and I was wearing like leggings with a bather over, and then a skins over that, and then like a long sarong. So it was like a culture shock, and also being Muslim and it was a Christian school was really challenging. I got asked like, do you worship the sun? And
were you allowed? I mean, did you openly still practice your religion though? I mean,
yeah, definitely.
At the time.
Kind of welcomed everyone else into my life. Hello, load shedding.
Yeah.
So
hello, back on. Yeah.
This is South Africa.
Yeah. Now it's still recording. We're still going.
Okay, sweet. Yeah. So I think, what was the question again? Did I embrace my deen? Yes, I did, and I felt very much like I wanted to hang on to that identity of being.
Was there a
Muslim.
culture shock for any of them though? I mean, because I don't think like I mean, obviously you being a Muslim person at that school was obviously different for them.
Yes, and like fasting was like weird for them.
Not eating.
Yeah, like not even water, and like can you have bubble gum and. But then like my friends got so into it, like they fasted with me.
Wow. Okay.
We hosted a ET for everybody, like so that they could get to know my culture and embrace my culture as well. So it was really eye-opening. But I did feel like hideous. Like I never thought I was beautiful until maybe I was in varsity. I was like, oh, maybe I'm not so bad looking because like these boys that want me here. I'm like, wait, am I cute?
They might want me, yeah.
Yeah, so Rishta's dad actually was one. I was telling the story the other day. Uncle Shaba was the first person who told me, like I used to tell him like, I'm so ugly, and he's like, no, you're stunning, like you're exotic, like look at your face. I'm like, no, I like my skin's so dark.
So,
and
so
like,
this was obviously your insecurities being in this kind
I
of
was
school.
very insecure, and I felt like I had to have a dynamic personality because I didn't have looks in my head.
Yeah.
Because nobody liked me, and it was like I wasn't one of the.
But I mean, have you been at the public school? You know, they'd be like, that's
I
like,
know.
please, you know, I mean, at the public school.
You know what happened to me when I was 16? It's like in my brain this moment. I was 16. I went to. Do you remember Foo Bar?
Yes.
And like Wada and those clubs.
Yeah.
So I was allowed to go to nightclubs very young.
You were allowed, so
because I had an older brother.
Okay.
My older brother. So my brother was like used to take me, and then he would like take me in there and like be all scary. Gosh, Ayub. And then
what's the age at the time? What are you like 14, 15? How old are you?
I was 16,
16,
17, and he was 4 years older than me. So he already had a car and stuff, and he was like driving us around. And then I remember this one boy. I wish I could say his name, but maybe
don't say his name. Give him other name.
Yeah, okay.
Just add him other name.
Call him like what? Sally.
Sally. Okay, Sally, if you're watching, this is about you, but that's your pseudonym for today.
I was at McDonald's at Cavendish, and he walked up to me and asked for my number. So I was like,
what?
My number? And he was like, yeah. I was like, why? And he's like, because I want to mix it to you. So I was like, but are you sure? So he's like, yeah. I'm like, but for what? Like, do you want something from me?
Do you still see him to the day? I mean, not
no,
see him,
I've
but I mean,
never seen him again.
Is he still around? Does he exist somewhere?
No, it was the first boy who ever said to me that, like, he wanted to chat
number,
to me. And I was like, why would he want to chat to me? And I turned around to my friends, and everyone was screaming because, you know, that's what teenage girls do. Like, and then I was like, oh my God, guys. I remember saying to my friend, like, I'm not ugly.
I'm not, okay.
I was like, I really genuinely
that's what you needed to sound.
I know, I genuinely thought I was ugly for the longest time. So I worked very hard on my personality.
Then what was, I mean, if this is what your thoughts, so then what were let's say your classmates like then?
Yeah, they were super confident. Like, white kids are very confident.
Yeah.
And they made me be confident about, like, my body, my size. I was so petite. And
do you think that's something that they get teach at a younger age than other than, like, let's say, brown kids?
Yes, it's a cultural thing.
Because, like, I mean, I think, like, lots of, let's say, brown people in those schools obviously have lots of insecurities about themselves because they feel like...
Also, our parents are strict.
Yeah.
And which I kind of put into my own life now as a parent, their parents are not as... I'm trying to be kind to my parents here in how I speak. They're not as controlling, maybe, and then more
Why
open.
your parents a bit strict? I mean, you went to a club at 17. I don't
My
think they were that
parents
strict.
were open-minded for
Okay.
Muslim parents, but according to my white friends' parents, they were strict.
They were strict.
So
okay.
they were very open-minded as Muslim parents because they were of the belief that they had us young, so they wanted us to have an open relationship where we rather talk about the things we're going to do instead of me lying to you. You know where I am, type of thing. As long as your brother's dropping you and fetching you, and I know you're safe.
We know where you're at. Okay,
yes.
that's cool.
So I was lucky because I had an older brother. But like my friends' parents, they didn't have older brothers. They were also allowed to go clubbing and whatever they wanted to do.
And for you, kind of seeing that on the other side, wasn't it like a bit weird? Like, oh, so they just let you?
Yeah, I'm like, what? That boy can sleep here. Or like,
the boys were sleeping over in high
yes,
school.
but it was like a weird, because they were all just friends, and it was just like, oh, it's your friend sleeping over. There's no gender sort of like, oh, boys.
My friends are friends.
Yes, like we're all friends, and like boys were allowed in the room, and like that kind of thing, which was like different, and like they were allowed to choose what subjects they wanted to do. I'm like, my parents chose my subjects.
You're doing maths, you're doing
business, you're maths and science,
accounting.
business studies, yeah. So you couldn't choose, and so that was like a nice thing to be exposed to, because then I treat my kids like they have their own personalities. They can choose what they want. And it's often not a brown thing to do where we like, or a person of color thing, because I think our parents were raised in a very difficult environment in apartheid, and they needed us to be something or someone.
Because they were obviously fighting the struggle. Now you were actually getting to enjoy the spoils.
Yeah, imagine
of all
a
of
guy
that.
from Ocean View's kids now at a private girls' school. Like, he's like, I made it. I have
Did
a
they
house.
put any pressure on you though, in terms of your
100%.
grades?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, they
I
come
came
home-
13th in my grade, and I like sobbed because I was like not top 5. And
Was it them putting that pressure on you that made you feel that way, or just
Yeah.
because of how you felt?
Totally, like, why aren't you number 1? Always, it was like you
were meant to be.
Yeah.
Do you think that messes up kids today? Or
Yes
like-
and no. I'm very grateful for my trauma because I'm very successful
Okay.
because of it. But I do think that, maybe with my kids I'll be a bit more open. I don't know. I don't know how I'll be, but I think like I'll be more comfortable with them being good at, because I feel like you can be good at a lot of things. You don't have to only be good at school, you know. Like I've landed on my feet and I wasn't the smartest girl in the class.
Yeah.
My sister is absolutely brilliant. She's like 27 and has a master's degree.
Wow.
And you know, she's got different skills to me, and it's okay to be good at different things. Like I'm better maybe at like public speaking, and like, okay, no, she's also good at that. But I mean, we have different skills.
Yeah.
And I think you can be
that's
good
what
at
I'm saying.
multiple
Like
things.
on that note, so now here you are. You bring in that report card home, and then like.
Yeah.
Is mom and dad ever saying like, oh, Aisha did so well, like that's nice, like
Yes,
you could maybe
always.
improve here, or was it like, how the hell can you come here with 97? You meant to have 100?
My sister got that a lot.
A lot.
And even that 97 and 100.
That still wasn't good enough.
Yeah, because they always thought she could do more, you know, and
We
she
have
did
this
do
conversation all the time, eh? She's gonna have a lot of unpacking to do at later
No,
stage in life.
she always did better though. It like worked for her. Whereas I was a rebel. Like to my core, I'm a rebel. So if my parents were like, you need to do better at maths, also I failed the test.
Just because.
Just like, do you to tell me?
You tell-
I'll
That's my
give you
favorite,
35%. What do
Yeah.
you think now? Like middle child, you know? I remember my mom going to my maths teacher, and the maths teacher was like, Aisha is willingly failing maths.
Failing maths. Okay.
I don't know what she's trying to prove. So then they were like, okay, we don't tell her what to do. Let's just leave her
Let's
and
just
see.
leave her.
And then
Okay.
that works better for me. But there was like my family are all high achievers. So there was pressure. Maybe I put a bit of
be
it
that.
myself
Okay.
as well. I still put a lot of pressure on myself. Like,
So now, obviously, obviously, when it comes to the blogging thing, let's go back
Yeah.
there. So you were obviously doing these blogs, but you did lots of the writing in the early days. You said you studied business, obviously. So why was, I don't know, journalism, magazine writing, or something like? Was that ever something on your mind? Because I mean, we've read lots of the stuff in the early
Yeah.
days. You know what I mean? So I mean,
Yeah.
you were a good writer, and you actually took us on a journey
I
through the
always
writing.
loved writing. You know, I actually have a book deal, but
Okay.
I haven't written the book.
Don't was the books coming
Because I get so anxious. But
Yeah.
I always wrote. So my mom made us keep a diary. So I
Okay.
always wrote about my feelings and emotions and stuff. And then I became a good writer. And I loved my English teacher in high school. And she encouraged me to write. So I won like a bronze medal in the South African writing. I stayed third.
Fantastic, yeah.
Because I was just good at it and I loved it. I never thought it could be something I would do with my life.
Because I mean, was English one of your subjects? I mean, did you like your English?
I loved English. I loved
Yeah.
poetry. I still write poetry now. So I consider myself a decent writer. I'm just bad at grammar and spelling, but like my
There's
voice
lots
is
of apps
there.
that can
Yeah,
do,
yeah.
that
There's
can take that
AI
up
for
these
that.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I got to varsity, so here's my story. I
Okay.
got to varsity. I left school. These girls that I'd now become like a sisterhood with, right? They
Yeah.
all their parents let them go overseas after school.
So, okay.
Where were my parents going to let me go anywhere but to my bedroom? Like, they were not going to let me go to England and Australia and New Zealand.
They were all traveling. And
they were traveling, going to India.
This is like 17, 18, like what?
18,
17?
yeah, 17, 18. So matriculated, they all left. And so I had none of my friends around. I got accepted to UCT. I went in and I was like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. So I dressed up because that was my way. Like I was raised by my grandmother a lot. So she was like, when you're nervous, it's lipstick and outfit. So I'm like, okay, full face of makeup.
Just look like just like sure you're on point.
If you're on point, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I went to campus and then I met some people. I was like, oh my word, everyone here is petite, brown skin Malay girls. I was like, oh, the most beautiful women on earth. Like, I was like, I never knew you existed. So I got like a little bit of jungle fever for my own people. Because I was like,
oh, you guys exist. You
there's
guys
more
all
of
here.
me. And like, it was so cool. And I got very excited and overwhelmed by just seeing people like me. And then I'd also broken up with my high school sweetheart. So I was like a little bit devastated because I had to see.
How long did that last though, by the way? High school sweetheart?
I don't know, like 16, 17, 18. Yeah, like long. You know,
long.
On and off. Like
one of that.
Like maybe 5 years on and off.
Was it toxic?
No, it wasn't.
It was good.
It was very sweet.
Is it?
Yeah, it was cute. Like Tipex on the bag forever, you know.
Okay.
Like, you know, that whole thing. His name on my shoe.
On the shoes also?
Yes,
Okay.
you know, I used to write his name everywhere.
Yeah.
And then, and we didn't see each other. We saw each other once a month.
Once a month?
Because like, how are you going to see each other? You don't have cars. You don't have money.
Chatting though?
We chat and mix it every night.
Okay.
But, you know.
Fantastic. Okay.
So I was like nervous to see him. And then I spoke to my friend at varsity and he was like, have you heard of a blog? So I'm like, no. He's like, you got a whole lot of feelings and it's all on Facebook and it's annoying. Well. He's like, go put it on a blog. So I started writing a blog and it literally blew up at campus.
Which was that? Was that WordPress? What was the first?
It was Blogspot.
Was the Blogspot
the
first one?
The first.
Blogspot one like,
oh my God.
2011.
Mine was called Baked on Life because I was like Baker. Baked like high on life, you know, got
you
it?
Baked, okay.
Yeah, and then I called it Baked on Life, and I used to like write about like missing my boyfriend, missing my friends, and then it blew up, and then girls would ask me like, where did you buy this outfit? And I'd be like, oh, this is how I style my outfits, and it just became a natural thing.
Okay.
And then everybody in the varsity community started reading it, and it became really popular, and I went to my lecturer. I was like, oh, I have 3,000 subscribers on my blog. He's like, that's really good for like local girl.
I don't think anybody else had 3,000.
No, it was like a lot those days. And that's equivalent to like 30K now.
Because I mean, obviously, how many people were actually on these things at the time?
Yeah. And then it just became like this big thing. And then I started failing because I was like
focusing on the blog.
Yeah, I was becoming very popular on the blog and I created this sort of, I know you spoke to Nadia about this persona.
Yeah.
I had a persona on my blog where I was a little bit more confident and a little bit more wise and not so insecure about like the way I looked and my boyish body and, you know, all these things that I was insecure about. And I wrote about breakups a lot because I had like
lots of people could obviously relate.
Yes. And I was like, oh my word, I also broke up with my high school sweetheart and all this stuff. And it was like just a cool thing. And then becoming really popular at a young age was very overwhelming.
That's what I was about to ask because I mean obviously maybe you are a little bit like, let's not say squared off from everyone else, but now you get all this attention and you had your own insecurities first and now everyone's like, Aisha, what about this and that?
Yeah.
Did you kind of just grow into it or how did you kind of navigate that?
Yo, that's mad because I am a bit of an introvert. I'm an introverted extrovert. Like I can be an extrovert, but I also have a shy side. So being behind the screen helped me because I was like able to express myself without, you know,
actually being there.
Yeah, without telling it in your face, like, oh my word, this is how I feel. And then when I became popular, people asked me for pics and stuff. And I just remember that didn't exist. So it was weird. Yeah. Like I had meet and greets at the mall and people would show up and I'm like, oh my God, people know who I am.
Just come say hi and like
and
meet you.
It was so weird for me. It's very overwhelming and I went back and forth and I still do with like fame.
Yeah.
Like I didn't like it. Like I'd stop and then I'd start again. And then I got like obsessed with being financially independent.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, this is something I can actually do, a game I can play. And I asked my lecturer for help and he was like, you need to approach brands. And I did that like off the bat.
Were they answering like just straight up? They were just like,
no, I was calling people, like showing up to events I wasn't invited to.
Just so you know the who's are going to be.
Yeah.
So
and be like, hi, I'm Aisha Baker. I'm a blogger. Have you heard of bloggers? You should work with me to promote your brand. I've got 3,500 subscribers.
But you were coming out. That's the important thing, you know.
Heavy coming out with like business cards and like hectic. And I remember my dad was like so upset about it because I was failing at varsity, and he was like, "Stop it with this blog thing,
Was
please."
this like your first year, second year? Like
yeah, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth.
Okay,
like every year.
okay.
Like it took 6 years to do a 3-year degree. And then, but I used it like as a networking opportunity.
Yes.
And then I started getting really good at it. Woolworths was my first client. Like it was quite major. And you know what? They gave me a 1,000 rand voucher. But I was like,
at the time.
I went to
that's
campus.
like,
I was like, so I have my own money, and like, don't
Yeah.
come for me. I'm gonna get MTN next. I'm
Yes.
get my own airtime. So and then I went and like fetched, like I went to get brands and got brands to work with us, like as influencers now we call, but
Yeah.
bloggers. Like I was the first person to do that.
No, I know, and we saw. I mean, that's
Proposals.
That's what we
And,
saw.
yeah, we taught each other how to write proposals and like email people. There was no LinkedIn to find people. We found people on Facebook. We found them at the shop. Like you go to Mac and you find someone.
But you know, this is what I like about the stories, that we actually get to go back in time, because obviously now people see the end product. They're looking at like, baked online, Aisha Baker, baked the blog, whatever. You know, this is who she is right now. This is what people perceive, but they don't understand that backstory. Like
Bro,
where it actually
it
started,
was a
you know?
hassle. Like I didn't have a camera because I
Yeah.
couldn't shoot pictures and stuff. So me and my friend shot together, but then she went to the airlines,
Okay.
so she couldn't shoot me anymore. So I went on Facebook. I was like, "Hey, is there any photography students that want to shoot me? Like I'll be your muse and you be my photographer."
Yeah.
Everyone was like, "This child is full of herself. Like
Yeah.
stop." No one did that ever. I was the first person with a photographer. Understand and believe this.
Just so you have it.
Like nobody did that.
Pioneered this game.
No, but it was
Yeah.
just so, like, I look at myself and I'm like, yo, who do you think you actually were? Like, you were so brazen.
Yeah.
And this chick, Tegan, she messaged me, she's like, I'll do it. So I was like, cool. We had like 100 rand petrol, and we were like, how far can you get with 100 rand? We're going to shoot at every place that we can go to.
And so, what did you have? Like, did you have like different outfits?
Yes, like 12 outfits.
12
like,
outfits.
Every single day I wrote a blog post. Every single day. It was like,
branded items, or
no,
did it not
just
matter?
anything. Like
Okay.
from, like, we didn't have Chinatown, but like, you know, why did I use this reference? But you know where Mavericks is?
Yes.
It's shops across the road from there that they sell like wholesale clothing. So I used to
Okay.
go there and buy stuff, and so I'd have a new outfit, and then
Doesn't matter. You just put it together.
yeah, I put it together, and it was like cool, and got a lot of like clout and
Traction,
stuff.
people were
Yeah.
like, okay.
And then Tegan built a career off of that. We worked so hard. We bought Tegan a new camera, and it was 35K at that time. So
Give
for
us an idea which year are we in at the time?
we in like I'm 23, 22.
Okay.
So 10 years ago, maybe more, 11
Okay.
years ago. 2011 was when everything popped off.
Yeah.
And then when I met my husband, it like pushed my profile more because people were curious because he'd never had a girlfriend before. And so people were curious as to who I was, I guess. So then I got a little bit more, you know.
Yes, lots of people are like interested.
Yeah,
like,
like
find out
who's
more what's
Bonnie's
actually going on.
girlfriend
Yeah.
now? Whoa.
But listen, I mean, obviously, if you were a writer, I mean, like, obviously, you were writing this early time. You must have been a great chatter, eh?
I was. My
Because
chat,
I'm just
my chat game is on another
No, I'm
level.
just thinking about it because you slept in
Bruh,
paragraphs. What did
no,
you do? Like
I was
intro, body,
my chat game
conclusion?
is unbelievable. Like if I was a man, I'd take everyone's woman. Like really,
Is it?
I
You
can
just
chat.
had it. You say you were smooth.
Like
on the
I would
chat.
help my guy friends get girls because I'm
'Cause
like,
you doing
don't
the
know how
chatting
to
for
chat.
them.
Yeah, I'm like, what?
Don't worry, man. I got this.
I'm like, give me that phone here. I'm like chatting to the
Did
girls.
your gallery have any juicy things?
Probably.
I'm talking about chats and so on, you know.
No, I've like I've
Joe
got a-
Banker info. You
I've
know?
got a lot of
We know the life.
stories that I won't tell in public, but they're fun.
That's actually gone. I think that archive still existed. I think like 4 years ago still, and then it just completely went off. 'Cause
Oh,
I
that's
tried
good.
to log in the old mixer. That was like 4 years back, and you could actually still go into the gallery and find.
No
so stuff
ways.
that you had like from the early 2000s was still there.
But you know what's funny when you were chatting so long to someone and then you'd meet them in person and it'd be so awkward
Like, hello.
because you're like chatting for 3 weeks and you're like, hey,
Hi.
what is it? ASL, ALS.
age,
yeah.
sex, language.
Is it location?
Location,
Yeah.
location.
Come on, stay woke. What was your
Yeah.
mixed name?
My mixer name. Oh, you don't want to get into this one.
Please.
Okay.
We'll be chatting.
Okay. Must I really say it?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Panty Dropper.
Oh my
That was number
word.
one. I'm sorry. I had to do, and then the second one was Richie Rich.
Okay.
I only had two.
I had Princess Dark Eyes.
Princess
Star,
Dark
star.
Eyes.
I was
Okay.
like mysterious.
Only one,
Yeah, my friend's mom was Gemini gal, so I couldn't take Gemini gal.
but it was a cool one.
Yeah, that would have been cool. So I
I
was.
mean, you know when Mixed kind of did the little bit of upgrade, you could go in different moods. I
Yeah.
mean, I know some people used to look for attention.
Yeah.
Like going on sad for no
That's
reason. I don't know
me.
why. So why? It was like, why are you sad?
That was me.
So you went on sad.
Yes, I was like, no one's chatting to me.
No one's chatting me.
I'm
What's wrong?
the middle child. I know exactly how to find attention.
I'm sad.
I'm like, I was always melancholic. Like I was very sad.
Okay.
And depressive, and my poetry
my
was
life,
like deep,
I'm so deep.
Yeah.
But I think but I think poets for the most part are very in tune with emotions on another level, because now you obviously are, a reason I can know this, I'm a poet myself. I mean, I've written many poetry in my life. So you're writing, obviously you're writing from a point of where you, I don't know, how can I say, if you change this emotions into something way bigger than it actually is.
Yes.
Because
it's almost
through,
like your
writing,
imagination can take you through a journey of like, on your emotional path.
Deep, dark gate in the abyss of darkness, and I feel no sunlight coming in. Someone help me take. I know.
That's me. I would right in the cupboard.
That?
Yes, like sit in the cupboard.
You should actually read us one of your old ones and be like, okay,
I should.
So
I must go on my blog and see if they're still there. Yeah, I have like some really deep stuff on my phone. I was reading it the other day, crying by myself. Like,
but now here we are. I mean, it's 2023. Life has changed. You know, social media has become life. Like, I mean, this is what everyone's on. There's even this thing, you know.
Yeah.
If for someone that has come from the beginning to see where it has, do you feel it again to be a good thing? And how much has that changed? Because I feel like maybe in the earlier days, now the five of you guys, let's say, more business was obviously coming in. Now you have like there's so much people, and look like everybody's hungry to work with brands these days.
Everybody's hungry, but nobody's doing it right.
Yes,
there's very few that are actually doing it correctly. Like,
okay,
I was always very strategic, and I think like the girls and guys that started in the beginning were also very strategic. I think the younger generation is very eager, but there's I'm very careful to say this.
I know what you mean, but you obviously have to go back and do like the education on how to do this thing.
There's a bit of entitlement, I think, in the generation below us.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have to hustle as hard. Like, you can blow up on social media so quickly. Like, you didn't have to hustle for anything. Like, you're just getting it so easy, you know? And anything that comes easy leaves easy. So I know, like, I don't know what your first job was, but we had to work for stuff. Like, I was a cashier at the bloody auto fitment center because that's my father's business. I was a waitress. I did promos, Charlie Girl, shout out. Like, I was there, checkers.
But I mean, you did those things, and I feel like some people like they don't want to do those normal jobs because they feel like, no, like, I'm too cool for that, or, you know, like they're on social media
but
today,
that's the pressure, I think, that comes with like TikTok and stuff in the younger generation. Like, you given a lifestyle that I wasn't aware of, a lifestyle like
that existed out
At my age, I was going to Spur 2 for 1, you know, that was an outing for me and my friends at 20. Whereas people now are like going to Tasha's for lunch. So you're creating a lifestyle that now you have to keep up.
You have to keep up that,
It's hardcore, and like they're doing these reviews and stuff. And I just feel like it's a lot of pressure on young people to like, I want to say to like us to like be cool.
Yes, to be quiet.
Yeah.
No, you know what? And this is so important to say, because then I know lots of people, again, they're on social media now, right? And maybe they do work with brands. Maybe they're not getting paid any bucks. Maybe you're getting the free food, or you're getting the opportunity to be there. So now you've done all this stuff. So now all of a sudden it gives you some inflated sort of ego.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. So these are the brands. But like, meanwhile, back at the ranch, there's no money that actually comes with all of these things. So now people's like, no, why are you working here as a cashier? Nothing wrong with being the cashier, but all of a sudden you, as the person, don't want to work there anymore because you feel like I feel like I'm above this. Yeah. But you don't have bucks in the other thing either.
That's the issue. That's the big issue. And like, I was when Nadia created Ace Labs, I think it's when she created Ace Labs, like, I messaged her to congratulate her, and she said to me, because I can sometimes be very like hectic. Yeah. And she said to me, I'll never forget you telling me, don't be broke and famous.
Yes.
Because that's my thing. Like, guys, don't be broke and famous. It's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
Because people will just tear you down on social media. Eventually, you rise and rise, and then you fall because people start to get they're jealous of you. So they just like want to take you down. And when you're financially independent, you have the power to step away from that. So my advice to young people always was, don't quit your day job. Work there. If people are like, oh, I wear Usrik at Checkers, and you're like, I wear like,
that's what I do.
It's just so much cooler and so much like it gives you so much more that you like working for something, you know. And you can be and have your job and be famous on TikTok or whatever, and you can have it all.
That's because some people are worried about what people are going to say.
Yeah,
and I think that's the big thing.
And the thing is, people are always going to speak shit. Like, I've had that my whole entire life. And you can focus on the crap that people say about you. I mean, think about just a regular person. You're going to like eat lunch, and that's that one auntie that just fucking nitpicks.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
lekker
fetjies nou, lekker fetjies. Kyk jy mag. Then you're like,
jou vang is so dik.
Yeah, and no. And I'm like, so we all experience that in life, not just influencers. And you just, as an influencer, you're going to experience it on a larger scale. And why not have a little some in the bank, to say like, okay,
so well, yeah,
say what you want, I pay
I'm
my
still
bills.
working.
Yeah,
no.
but what I need.
No, that's also a message that I think I've been very adamant on telling lots of people this all the time. Like, if you are gonna get into this, because number one, you obviously started this off on passion. Because I even think about when I kind of started doing this, it was never about I'm doing this because I want to work with brands or because I want to be this well-known person or want people to know me. Because I had no idea that this was on the other side. It was like, I love making videos, I love writing, I love connecting with people, and the byproduct of all that was. Hey! Gents, I love you guys are feeling good.